First 4K disc. Hopefully for so many. Oh, hello. Now that I've got my Sonic 3 spoiler review done, and I'm ready to go live on June 23rd, I thought I would just ease into this month with another gaming vlog. A mixture of what I'm currently playing and other developments. Some are good, some are bad, some are somewhere in between. So, let's begin. Alright, let's rip the band-aid off real quick. It seems in their infinite lack of wisdom and short-sightedness, not only has the highly anticipated Black Panther game been cancelled alongside the closure of the studio, it seems that Electronic Arts is only focusing on a handful of core assets, even though the character could have easily carried his own game, and even having been a focal point of two highly acclaimed blockbuster films with a third in the wings. I know that they're still working on Iron Man game, Marvel 1943 game, which also is going to feature a variant of Black Panther. It's still disappointing, especially given how it had its own take on the Nemesis system, with a lot more developers and Monolith involved, because canceling one anticipated superhero game by a talented studio was not enough. This had to happen to two. And they also passed up a chance to do Battlefront 3 in favor of their own as well, despite how popular the game's getting again. So there's that. Of course, the Switch 2 is launching this week, and even with some people reporting that pre-orders have been cancelled, I have yet even received a notification. I've just been in the pool for a while, but most reports are expecting that they're going to be selling through their initial stock this year of about 15 to 20 million units. So very, very much not, in fact, like the Wii U 2, who, if anything, that might be at least as popular, if not more so, than the existing system is, which, despite the cost, it's clear to me that the pricing was only part of the previous console success, and I still don't consider the other consoles that come on the market a threat, much as competition, and personally, but that's just me. You know me. Yeah. And to start segueing to what I'm currently playing, the 25th anniversary celebration for the Jet Set Radio franchise is kicked off with a new merchandise collection. I'm also low-key excited for a new game. I'm playing the original as well as its companion titles that Naganuma also worked on to get ready. And in spite of what some of these channels might tell you, the original one is really not the toughest game ever. It's definitely similar to pick and play, but tough to really master. I say that from both the perspective of an 8-year-old and a 33-year-old, as I was 8 when I first played this game. So, let's kick things off on the PlayStation front. Already making up for what some selections some people are dissatisfied with. And from last month, personally, I got too deep into Balatro and Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun to Care, is leading off the days of play with some actually pretty impressive variety of titles, all on PS4 and 5, with two ones arguably being the highlights. On a personal level, it's going to be Bomber Cyberpunk, which is one of my favorite games of 2023 when it released. With Naganuma being something a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio, it actually adds new ideas, but still keeping the key concepts of extreme sports, or it's street art, drum and bass music, and something we could also be satisfied with right now, fighting back against a despotic regime, And there's also the actually pretty good Alone in the Dark remake, which definitely was vast improvement over a lot of less installments. It's close and solid in tone the first few games in terms of all horror roots, and even though its developer Peace Interactive was one of the many casualties of Embracer her restructuring, and, it's still like how it definitely has slow burn pace the early installments and with great use of beta master David Harbour and Jodie Comer as the leads. And we also have NBA 2K25. And even despite the questionable monetization practices, it is still very solid basketball sim. And last but definitely not least is Destiny 2 The Final Shape, the final campaign and expansion for Destiny 2, which I've been waiting to try for a bit. I'll probably do a separate video on that in the future, but I'm not going to be actively addressing the marathon situation, especially a. I'm just trying to be an observer there, best of my ability. But I will at least make some popcorn and grab a drink to watch this fire burn, as with others. Before I segue to who talking about what I've been trying on the Switch, which I also working on 100% completion and in the Warriors PS2 game, and I also finally got past that mission I was stuck on in Grand Theft Auto 3. He taking out the laundry. He since I can never really line up the grenades that easily, especially since the trucks won't stop moving. So my solution has always been to just ram them off the road, or just keep hitting them until the trucks themselves blow up, which works. Works, I mean, with the delay of GTA 6, it gives me more time to replay a the previous installments once again. I just had to figure out where I can and get Vice City stories working personally. The Switch, I've been playing more and more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, practicing aim for Mario Kart World, and early reception in that game seems to be quite positive for those who have a chance to play it early. And even though it's not going to have the 200cc mode at launch it will be added in later updates. If you ask me what classic course I would want to see remixed along with this music for this game, 2 words: Waluigi Pinball. I'm also still getting a more in Splatoon 3. I keep hearing talk about a 4th game, but I'm personally not going to be expecting that until 2027 at earliest. I mean, I could see, as a way to celebrate 10th anniversary, a deluxe edition of the first game on the Switch family, at least personally. I'm also gonna work more on doing post game stuff in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is definitely also benefiting heavily from the Switch 2 update. I don't know about these claims with beta are true, but much like Cyberpunk, I mean, it is very much going to be getting its redemption arc of sorts, where it's, again, there's a lot of similarities between the two games. Between they may have had a lot of issues at moments, especially the absolute states they were in technically. But in terms of like a story and world building idea, those were solid, man, for very different reasons. Lastly, I would also like to point out that I am working on replaying both Batman Forever Arcade and the Genesis port of the Power Rangers movie game, and had my reviews of those, which I definitely also want to have done and up in advance this month, especially the latter, since people have been giving me a lot of different measures about what will happen and what coming from my will being removed, but I'm gonna have a lot of content set aside just in case. So because I know it has been very talkative right when that happened. So anyway, that's all I got to say for now. I'll see you all again soon. So take care, everyone. Hmm.